Well, hello, everyone. I wish I could see your faces, but I can't. So you can just look at us. I work at Truemed and about to dive into what that is in just a second. But essentially, what we're going to be talking about today is allowing your clients to pay for their sessions with you through their HSA and FSA funds. So without further ado, let's go through the basics. And I think to start, what I wanted to just kind of talk about was the mission, because I think it will probably pretty well aligned with what you guys are thinking through in terms of getting into personal training and things like that. But I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of Callie Means or the book Good Energy. He's kind of taken off recently. He helped co-author that book with his sister. And essentially, he's one of our founders. And our founders are thinking right now, they're looking at kind of the healthcare system in the US. And we are spending more and more dollars on people who are getting sick, yet more and more people are getting sick nonetheless. So what our founders are thinking through is, why is this happening? This doesn't make sense. There are other countries in Europe or China or whoever who are actually, they have healthier populations than us, and they're spending less money on their healthcare. So what the kind of the mission behind this is looking at our current system and thinking, how can we incentivize people to take care of their health prior to getting sick, to root cause analysis? Like, why are people getting sick in the first place? Usually because they're not working out, they're not eating healthy. It's a product of their environment. So we're looking at the current system and thinking, what tools can we use to incentivize people to take care of themselves in the first place? So the answer that we kind of come up with for now is HSA and FSA dollars, and I can get into that in a second, but that is the overall mission. Hopefully that makes sense. Yes, I will explain it in just a second, Gina. So HSAs and FSAs. Would be curious to know in the chat if you just want to type up your answers if you guys are familiar with these at all. But as a quick overview, HSA and FSA funds are these health saving accounts and flexible spending accounts, but I'll just say HSA and FSA to keep it short. Yeah, not enough people are funding them, but we're trying to change that. Basically, these are accounts that are pre-tax accounts that people can use towards healthcare expenses. So in kind of like the old world of thinking, a lot of people, me included, before I started working at Truemed, a lot of people think about this as using their HSA, FSA funds for like sunscreen or contact solution or copays for prescriptions, kind of things that are not cool, if for lack of a better term, just kind of like, oh, I guess I'll spend them. And what we are doing is we are kind of unlocking clients being able to spend their HSA and FSAs on things like fitness or eating well, or, taking care of their health before the fact of actually, getting sick. So we are unlocking these pre-tax dollars that your clients can use for fitness specifically. Yep, exactly, Haley. I know, it's exciting. So how it works, these are pre-tax dollars again. So we'll get into kind of how the savings work in just a second, but how it works more logistically and how we unlock this spending is essentially we will have your clients take a quick like 1 to 2 minute survey. I've honestly taken it so many times now, and it does really take about 90 seconds, and they provide their background on, who they are, gender, things like that. And then any sort of health intervention they are looking to prevent, treat, cure, or mitigate. And that's what they'll answer in the survey. It then gets sent, that survey then gets sent off to our third-party practitioners. And our third-party practitioners that we partner with will review the survey, and they will deem, is this client, is like fitness and Everfit going to help with this client's needs that they're looking to help prevent, whatever it might be. And from that, they will issue what's called a letter of medical necessity to the client. And this LMN, just for short, essentially you can think of it as like a prescription for Everfit exercise that unlocks the HSA and FSA spending. So the practitioners issue this LMN that unlocks the HSA FSA spending, and the client can then submit that LMN to the provider and then get reimbursed for the money that they're spending with you guys. So that's just kind of the overall process. I'll go into that, answer any questions in the back end because I know I just had a lot of words, but that's just kind of like how it all works and how we unlock the spending. So what this means for you guys in terms of marketing and getting your clients excited about this and spreading the word is because these are pre-tax dollars, they are essentially saving 30% and you're not even discounting. So it's actually, the reality is it's actually anywhere from 25 to 40%, depending on their tax bracket and where they live. But we just say 30% just to be kind of like in the middle there. And again, no discounting by you, but you can frame this to them like, if you have these dollars, you've got to spend them. You might as well spend them on, working out, and you're going to save 30%. And something I would note as well is as I continue to kind of like work in this world, I think a lot of people who are just candidly of higher economic status kind of thing, your clients, I would assume, are very aware of their HSA and FSAs. They're like funding them, et cetera, et cetera. They have them. They just don't know where they can spend them. So it's kind of up to us to educate them that, you can actually spend them with me. So with that, if you want to jump in, Rob, we can actually demo exactly how this works on the more logistical side with Everfit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'm just going to set up a screen share real quick to walk us through it. This is going to be a very quick demonstration because it's super simple, super easy to use for your clients.
Thank you.
Okay. So hopefully everyone can now. Yep, there. Cool. All right. So basically what you would do is send the client to your Everfit package page, right? And then as you can see, this one's a bit of a basic one we just whipped up for an example, but hopefully yours probably looks a little bit nicer and cleaner than this one. But essentially what they'll do, it looks pretty much the same as a normal package. But if a client is using a US-based IP address, they will also see down here this HSA FSA eligible button. So being HSA FSA is a US based thing, that's why we've limited it to US people. If you've got a client from Australia or from Europe or something like that, they're obviously not going to have access to an HSA FSA account. Therefore, it's not really relevant to them. But what they'll do is they'll come down and click on this. Oh no, it opened a new tab. Hang on one sec.
We love technology.
Yeah, this is some Demio limitations. Okay, so they'll come to this page, which is how it works. And again, this is a little bit more client-facing information for them, so they can kind of get a quick overview of how it works. There's going to be a series of frequently asked questions as well, which they'll no doubt have. So, they can definitely refer to these as well, as opposed to potentially asking you. But then what they'll do is come back up, click Get Started, which will then take them to the Truemed portal where they can fill out their 2-minute health evaluation. So just, I'll quickly go through this. Then they'll just go through, and we don't have to go through all the questions there, but basically it's going to ask them for some general personal details. And then actually, Bryn, you probably have a better understanding of what's going to be in the assessment than I would.
Yeah. So basically what goes through this is, first, last name, gender, and then also what provider are you using for your HSA and FSA accounts, which is important because when they select that, just so you know, when they receive the LMN, we also will match that with instructions for that specific provider for how they can submit for reimbursement. Yeah, exactly. There it is. And then from there, they go through and they talk about their previous, health history, if there's anything that they're looking to try and treat, prevent, mitigate, etc. The biggest thing here is we just ask that clients are honest and thorough. So, if they are worried about anxiety or something like that, then they will select that. So this is what it looks like. And then it will go over to our practitioners and then they will issue a letter of medical necessity. Just so you guys know, in terms of acceptance rates for LMNs and like after review, it's anywhere from 97 to 99%, depending on kind of like the week and the month. So there's a very, very, very high chance that they will end up getting a letter of medical necessity. Okay, there's some questions coming through.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of filling this out as we go with some random answers. Mine's actually up there.
Nice, me too. Oh, sucks.
So yeah, there's a few other questions there, but basically when you get to it, I think you touched on the $20.
Nope, about to. Yep.
Okay.
So basically, Marie, great question about if you already have existing clients who are on repeat monthly payments who now want to take advantage of the HSA and FSA option. They can just go ahead and take this survey, and then we can submit it to the third-party practitioners. They'll get their LMN, and then that LMN is valid for all payments moving forward for the next year. So they can then they just take the survey once, and it's a $20 fee to take the survey to cover the fees of the practitioners and things like that. Once they have that letter of medical necessity, it will then cover all payments for the remainder of the year. And just so you know, if they don't want to like submit for reimbursement to their provider on a monthly basis, they can actually batch these out. They can do them, submit for reimbursement for 2 months or payments at a time, or the entire year. They can just do at the end of the year, they can just submit for reimbursement for all of their payments they've paid you, etc. So hopefully that helps answer your question.
Cool. Yeah, I'm seeing there's a few questions in here. Sorry, as I was filling that out, I wasn't 100% sure which ones we've touched on, but we can go through a couple. So I'm just having a look here. So Sean asked, can we only do this through the Everfit payments, or can we do this outside payments? So yeah, it does need to go through Everfit payments, and just in case I'm repeating myself or repeating you here, Bryn, but the reason for that is when you get the LMN, it is specific to Everfit training, and then when they go through the Everfit payment system, the invoice they receive will have Everfit in there, and that's how the provider will match the LMN to Everfit to make sure that they're connected. So if you are using an external payment, you're just not going to have that ability to create that match that the provider then says, okay, yes, I understand that this is from Everfit and this is what the LMN says.
Yep, exactly.
Uh,
So go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, just scrolling through to Edward. Great question about the custom app. I don't exactly know 100% for that, but I can check in on that. And if you want to shoot me an email, I'll drop my email in the chat in a second, and then we can pick it up from there.
Perfect. And then Haley, how long does it take for them to get the LMN over to them? Our average time right now is, we say up to 48 hours, but in reality, average time is about 2 to 4 hours. I've gotten mine within like 35 minutes. So it's generally speaking, it's very much same day and almost immediate. And then so the practitioner is through Everfit Truemed. Clients won't have to get the LMN from their own doctor. Haley, if I'm saying it, yeah, Haley, that is correct. The LMN is from our practitioners. They can get a letter of medical necessity from their own doctor. That is an option, candidly. But in order to do so, they obviously have to set up an appointment. There's cost there. There's a lot of logistics there. So this is just another route for them to get that LMN.
Yeah, exactly. We tried to make it as easy as possible for both you as the coaches and then also your clients as well, to just remove as many steps as possible. And again, like Bryn was saying, instead of trying to set up an appointment, go to see your doctor, do all those things, they can literally fill that 2-minute health assessment out and have their LMN within minutes.
Exactly. And then Haley, if they do a subscription plan, they would have to do the survey monthly. Nope, they only have to take the survey. Whoops, sorry, I just heard myself. They would only have to take the survey once a year, and then the LMN is then valid for that year. So they'll just have to submit for reimbursement to their provider. They can do that on a monthly basis, or they can batch it all up into one massive submit for reimbursement at the end of the year. That makes sense.
Yep.
And then Nicole, is there a link for the survey? That was Rob, in your guys' page.
Yeah. So yeah, like I was showing in that demonstration just before. So to get to the link, you just go to the package page, click on it. It'll take you to the landing page, and then you click on the how to get started within that landing page, and that's going to take you to the Truemed portal where the survey is for them to fill out. So it's literally just 2 clicks of a button from the clients on that side of things.
Yep, exactly. And then Haley, there's 2 Haleys, and it's like tripping me up. But so clients pay the normal amount upfront and then get reimbursement. That's exactly correct. So essentially, the provider reimburses them for those pre-tax dollars that they'll essentially be using.
Yep. And Gina, yes, Everfit still uses Strut for the payment system.
Great. If we have a high ticket program, should we set it up as a 12-month draft or PIF? I don't necessarily know.
Pay in full, I believe that means.
Pay in full. Oh, yeah, it's honestly, it's up to you. High ticket program, like, absolutely works. Something to note, also, that actually reminds me, I don't know if this is answering your question, Chris, so let me know if it's not. But sometimes, HSAs and FSAs, there's a limited amount that's in them, right? So what will happen when they're submitting for reimbursement is essentially they will get reimbursed for the amount that is left in their HSA and FSA account. And then the rest of it, let's say like you have a $2,000 program or whatever it is, and they only had $900 in their account, the rest of it will just be charged by their normal credit card. So that's just like a logistical thing to note. So how does Truemed make money on this? There are margins regarding the LMN fee that the customer is paying for. So again, you guys are not discounting anything. You're not paying for anything. Everfit is really, they're the ones that are setting this up, etc. And then how we make money is the margins off of the LMNs.
Yeah, and just going over that too, like so the element is $20, it's valued, then it's oh gee, I blanked it. It's uh I can't think of the word now. But I get it. It's good for 12 months. That's essentially what I'm trying to say. So then from that, again, if you think about it, it's a $20 fee, but if you can then save anywhere from 25 to 40% over the course of 12 months up until that limit, that can be hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So definitely worth that $20 investment on their part.
Absolutely. Do invoices providing coding necessary for reimbursement? Yvonne, I don't completely know what you mean by that. If you're asking about if it has to be matched to Everfit, yes, it does, but I'm not sure if that's exactly your question, if you don't mind rephrasing. And then Kira, if they're already enrolled in a monthly subscription, do they need to repurchase their package? No, they do not. Something to note there though is the LMN will not be covering previous purchases. It will be covering purchases like it won't cover any past purchases. It'll just be valid from, this day for the next year.
Yeah. And then, so what you can also do, so if they are, sorry, I'm just double checking this, make sure I'm 100% right before I say it out loud. Give me 1 second.
No worries. And then just as they're doing that, Crystal, can they use an FSA card at checkout? No, but love where your head's at. And that is something that we are looking to work on and integrating with Everfit as well. So stay tuned.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so like just double check that. So if they are already on a recurring subscription, you can always just send them another link to a different package and they can click on that HSA, FSA eligibility. They don't actually have to purchase the package if they're already on one, but then they can get to the health assessment form through the links of that as well. So yeah, you can either just send them a link to the package they're already on and just tell them go straight to the HSA, FSA eligibility part, or you can send them a different package that'll also have that link.
Great. Awesome. I'm just making sure. Is there any cost to the coach? Again, Stephanie, no cost to you. The thing that you have to do is let your clients know about this, and I'll get into that in a second. To follow up on the link, I'd love to have a QR code promoting it. Rob, if that's something you want to mention to the team.
I'm just taking a note of that right now. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, love it. And then Ashley, how do they serve 30? I can't talk today. I'm so sorry, you guys. How do they save 30% in the long run? Good question. So basically, because these are pre-tax dollars, the taxes aren't getting taken out of these funds. So that is how they're saving the money, is because they are pre-tax funds. So if you look at, ever a pay stub and you say you were paid, oh gosh, I'm going to make this hard on myself, $100, then you always see that the $30 was taken out because of taxes. So you actually only got 70, but for these funds, you're actually getting the full 100. So it's essentially that pre-tax savings.
Just seeing the one, I don't know if we've touched on this, but it just regards to the clients that maybe have an HSA or FSA card, that they don't currently have the ability to use that yet. What they would do is use their normal credit card and then submit the reimbursement, and then they would kind of reimburse themselves from their HSA or FSA account.
Perfect. Wonderful. David, I've had a client get this without the survey, reason as to how they were able to do that without the survey unlock. I'm not sure about that. Something that we really focus on at Truemed, very candidly, is we're in, the intersection, right, of like HIPAA and tax rights and all these kind of everything. So compliance is our number one focus, I can confirm, on the back end. So the survey is really really upholding that robust compliance, I would say. But maybe I'm not sure how they would have gotten it otherwise, but it sounds like a different route.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure on the context there, but they could have also just got it through their own doctor, like we mentioned before. So it's not that you necessarily have to go this way. We just tried to make this like as streamlined as possible. So that could definitely be a reason of how they managed to have it prior to this.
100%. These are great questions, you guys. Can the Stripe Everfit integration utilize Affirm or Klarna? That is a different payment option, I believe. So
Yeah, I don't believe so. But Donovan, just to confirm, if you definitely want a full 100% confirmation on that, if you wanted to reach out to our customer support team, they would definitely have that answer for you. But yeah, I don't have that off the top of my head.
great. Sean, I'm based in Canada and I have clients in both Canada and the US. Can my US clients utilize this if they have an HSA? Absolutely. Your US clients can and should, in my opinion. And then 2, any intention to roll this out in Canada? We have HSAs too. Right now, candidly, we are very much focused on the US, but and I'm just going to show my ignorance here. I didn't know that Canada had HSAs too. So something definitely to consider because obviously I think it would be valuable to Canadians as well.
Yeah, and Edward, correct me if I'm wrong, Bryn, but it doesn't need to be a subscription. If you have a 12-week program and you sell it as a 12-week program, that's totally fine, as long as that payment is made within the 12-month period of the LMN eligibility, correct?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yep. This can be like a one-time purchase that this covers. This can like pay in full, as someone was asking. It's that LMN just covers whatever they're purchasing through Everfit essentially, as long as it's eligible.
So Tiana, do you need to activate this? You don't have to activate this on the account. It will automatically appear on the package page for any client or consumer that comes from that US-based IP address, like I mentioned before. So the odd chance that they wouldn't see it, maybe they have some kind of VPN, but I would imagine there'll be a very minimal amount of people. So yeah, no requirement on the coach's side to go through and set anything up. As long as you already have existing packages or you set up any new packages, it will automatically appear for those US-based clients.
Yep, exactly. Is there just a link we can send them versus sending them to another package service? I'll defer to you, Rob, on how you would.
Yeah, that's a good question. At the moment, I would say no, but I'll definitely look into that and see if that is there for those existing clients for sure. And then keep an eye. We're also going to be releasing a lot of different pieces of information regarding this over the next couple of weeks, from PR releases, blog articles, help articles, things like that as well. So keep an eye out for some of those rolling through. And again, if we do end up creating a link that they don't have to go through the package portal, that'll probably be in those updates that are coming through.
Do we need to do something to activate this on our account? I just went to packages and didn't see this option yet. Rob, I will also defer to you.
Yeah, so like I said, there's nothing you need to do as a coach. If you just create a package as you normally would, it will then appear for those US-based clients.
Great. No, there was another one. Do we have access to the LMN? Sometimes MDs leave additional notes regarding training precautions. That's a really good point. But no, you do not have access to the LMN. The reason for that is just HIPAA compliance, essentially. So all of that data is private to the individual customer. What are the odds? Gina, thank you for answering. Wonderful. Nicole, does everyone have an HSA or an FSA? The answer is no. The statistics behind that are 80% of Americans that are, employed and above 18 have access to HSA or FSA accounts. And of those, 40% actually fund them. There's a statistic where there's about $150 billion sitting in HSA and FSA accounts. So we are really trying to unlock those so that they're actually spent on things outside of sunscreen's important, but like also fitness and other kind of preventative measures.
And hopefully within the ecosystem, like you were talking about before, if they can use these for preventative measures, then they won't have to use their funds on more reactive measures like going to the doctor for their illnesses, because hopefully they'll be healthier and won't need to do that.
Exactly. There you go. If you're able to get, you guys, these questions are fantastic. So I appreciate you guys. If you're able to get an HSA, FSA card eligible on Everfit as a payment, I assume you will send an update to us. Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
Sure. Yep. We better. Yeah. How exactly do they get reimbursed? I'm sure someone will ask. They will get reimbursed directly through their provider. So it depends it depends from provider to provider, but essentially the provider will they'll be reimbursing them with the funds.
And the LMN, because when they apply for it, they pick which provider they have. The LMN will also have clear instructions for each specific provider there as well. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so just if they're, if you have different clients with different providers, like they'll have their own set of individualized instructions based on that.
100%. Perfect. A generic link for existing clients would be super helpful. Rob, I will leave that comment to you. It sounds like that's some good feedback.
Mhm.
Um, when do they get reimbursed? At the end of the year or once they apply? Sorry if this was already answered. No, it's a great question. Again, this seems like a really fuzzy answer, like a BS type of answer, but it depends on the provider. What I have seen with myself is that I've gotten reimbursed within a week from my provider. And then I've heard of like up to like a month, but it just really depends on provider.
Megan, just saw you posted there in regards to the link. Yes, you can definitely send that link. From my end, I'm just trying to think how we can more immediately surface that to you guys. But yeah, to your point, if you went into your own package, clicked on that eligibility button and went to the landing page, you could just copy and paste that URL. That's a good way to do it for now.
Great. Do you know how long it's same? Is there a list of HSA, FSA providers that we could remind individuals to use? People sometimes forget what type of coverage they have. That's a good question. I don't have a list off of the top of my head. I would encourage them to look into the kind of benefits that they have through their employer, and ask their employer directly. And then from there, it's usually pretty clear regarding the plans that they have set up.
Yeah,
But
and also a good one. I think we mentioned it in the previous webinar we held on this as well. And I know it's a little bit later in the year, but if some open enrollments are still open, and they don't have an HSA or FSA account, like also, have them potentially ask their employer if that's an option for them and how they can get involved in it. And I think we'll go a little bit deeper into some of those things and how to speak to your clients about that in a couple of upcoming slides. We just like Bryn said, so many good questions. We're just kind of getting stuck into them, but we do have a few more slides, so maybe we can go through those and then go
yeah,
revert back to some questions after that, just in case we answer some of the questions you guys might already have.
wonderful. Yeah, Sean, great segue. Can we talk about how to raise awareness? Yeah, for sure. Yes, we can. Cool. So what do you need to do? Basically, this is like what I have seen through working with different brands and personal trainers and things like that is this is something where you really get out what you put in. So the more that you are educating people that this is an option, people want to use their HSA and FSA dollars. They just don't necessarily know where, how, or when, essentially. So it's kind of one of those things where it's really up to you to educate your clients. So biggest thing I would say is just being direct on the what. So you are saving 30% of average, excuse me, an average of 30% for 12 months. So that's what you're doing if you use these dollars, just letting them know that like this is a great idea. This is you being financially responsible and responsible for your health. This is like you're crushing it if you're doing this essentially. Also, be repetitive. This is kind of a new, so many people are like, this is a new movement, but like truly, it's a bit of a newer kind of concept for people that they can actually spend their dollars on something like fitness. Again, the thinking before this really was about contact solution, sunscreen, copays. Now we're kind of introducing this new way of thinking about paying for fitness and taking care of your health. So you kind of have to like beat the drum a little bit multiple times before people really start to get it. And just so you guys know, on our end, we're also doing as much as we can and promoting as much as we can in order to kind of raise awareness around that message too. I can get into that if people are curious. And get creative. You guys are the best at promoting yourself. Like, you know what to do and what works for your clients, whether it's social media, emails. I don't know necessarily exactly what you do to promote yourself, but you know what works for you. So just weave it in there, get creative, talk about it in conversations, drop it where you think you should, et cetera, et cetera. And I know everyone has different goals, so I'm not going to read through all of these because you guys can read, and we'll send this slide just after, but you can use this as a lever for whatever you're looking to do. So you can post and to any prospective members on your social media if you want to be growing for incrementality. You can use this as, you have Bob, your client, who's really on the fence, and you can tell he's thinking about leaving because maybe he just, I don't know. You can tell he's thinking about leaving. So this is like you are basically offering them this way where they can save 30%. So that's a really great retention tool as well. Upselling, obviously, if they want to start doing more sessions, if they want to opt into like a longer term program, whatever it might be, they are saving 30%. You get the idea. I'm not going to go off on this, but you can really use this and get creative and use it as a different lever for different kind of KPIs that you have for yourself. So emails, if you guys are using emails for your audience, again, get creative with this, but if you have flows, sometimes people have like kind of cancellation email flows. You can put this in there. Like, did you know if you want to come back, you can spend your HSA and FSA dollars with me. If somebody hasn't booked in another session and you really want them to kind of loop them back in. I don't know what I was trying to say. Then you can text them like, did you know? You can use your HSAs, FSAs. At the end of the year, something that's really great as well that I do want to mention around Q4 is FSAs specifically, they expire. So they expire come December 31st. So essentially, a lot of people are kind of sitting on this pot of gold and they forget about it, frankly, if I'm being totally honest. And then come around November, December, they're like, uh-oh, I need to spend, $2,000. Where do I spend it? So it's a really great time to kind of beat the drum on this and say, like, you can spend them with me. And then it's top of mind come January and February right now, because those funds get replenished and they're thinking like, oh, wait, I should probably be smarter this year on how I spend them. Where should I spend them? I'll get to all of these questions also. I see them coming through, but my brain can only focus on one at a time. And then social, obviously, get creative really on how you want to message us on Instagram and TikTok. You can do, you can talk about it yourself. I don't know if you guys partner with anyone else that would want to talk about it in videos. Just get creative and just pop it in there. Even if you're doing a different kind of promo about if you are running like 50% off on one of your packages or something like that, you can kind of deal stack, if you know what I mean. Say like, I'm running a 50% off promo or something like that. And then say, and if you use your HSA and FSAs, that's an additional 30% off for that. So it's kind of a deal stacking opportunity as well. And that's all. This is the Q&A slide that we've already kind of dove into, and we can keep going on questions and answers, but hopefully that was kind of helpful.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly add too that I think on one of the slides it mentioned like some of the Everfit based stuff. So we've actually created a few different templates for like social media posts, emails, things like that. Even like a DM within the Everfit app or however you communicate with your clients. They will also be sent out with a copy of the recording here in the email. But if you either haven't chosen to get that communication from us, you can also go to Everfit Academy, where the recording of the previous one will be, and in the resources section of that, you'll be able to find those templates. And then, like I mentioned at the start, in a couple of days, we'll also update that with this newer version of the recording, because there's more questions, the live demo, things like that. So if you haven't already, jump over to Everfit Academy and sign up there. It's completely free. And there's plenty of other great resources too, but there's also the templates for the communication with your clients around this partnership.
Awesome. Thank you. And then questions. These are fantastic questions. So I really, really appreciate it. Yes, Rob has answered the fee for the clients. And then in terms of Tiana, I'm not sure what the average for acceptance or rejection for the LMNs is outside of Everfit. We also do partner with many other kind of fitness equipment brands and things like that. And the general kind of acceptance rejection rate is around 96 to 99%. I will say, just from experience with this, fitness kind of providers see the highest, I would say, acceptance rate, where it's really hovering around 98, 99%.
Yeah, I think also just referring to Calvin's question, I don't think we have any of the statistics around what the acceptance rate is if you went a different route through your own primary care provider. We obviously don't have that data from them. So as Tiana, I think, mentioned there and kind of helped us out, we don't unfortunately have that data. But I think the key one is, like Bryn just said, it's for using Truemed, it's about 99% in the health and fitness or coaching space. So that's definitely like the main thing to take home out of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, if you do have any other, here we go. Just about to wrap it up.
Can your providers teach all practitioners how to get LMNs to the general public for fitness? Maybe. That's so something that we are really working on. This isn't exactly answering your question, but something our founders are really heavily involved in it as well is just kind of like thinking through public policy and like how can we make this more accessible to everyone? Like that's not just like a movement essentially of like how can we think about our current set up so that people are really incentivized to focus on their health before they get sick. So that's kind of like a whole other arm of our focus as well. I know that's not exactly answering your question, but it's a good idea, and I'd like where your head's at. It's very in line with what we're thinking. So should we ask if they have an HSA, FSA account first, then go into how they can use those funds for this? Yeah, you can absolutely ask them first. If you're in a conversation with them in a session or something like that, you can just bring it up. Also, you can, when you're doing a little bit more mass marketing, if you will, people do tend to know if they have the HSA or FSA account. It's just kind of in the back of their mind and then they forget about it. So it'll usually kind of ring a bell and they'll say like, oh, wait, that's me. I do actually have one and I actually could spend this. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, and if they're unsure, then I'd say the best thing is just to have them reach out to their employer HR department or something like that as well, because they'll obviously be able to assist them. Or maybe if they don't have it, and like I mentioned before, but they're still in an open enrollment period, there's still time for them to add an HSA or FSA account if that's something that's offered by their employer.
Yep, exactly. Which is good. It's good for them to know. Regardless. When is the enrollment period? I'm not going to tell you the wrong thing, so I'm literally looking it up right now. November 1st is when open enrollment begins, and the last day to enroll is January 1st, according to my quick Google search. But I believe that that's correct. That's what I was going to say, but Google confirmed.
Cool. All right. Sweet. So yeah, I think like I mentioned before, there's going to be a lot more content coming out regarding this partnership. So we'll probably send a blog out. There'll be like an email or in a newsletter for everybody, our socials, all that sort of stuff. So you'll definitely be seeing that a lot more. And if you do have any other questions or anything, feel free to reach out to our customer support team, and we can kind of continue helping from there. But yeah, we're really excited about this partnership. Hopefully, it's going to save your clients a lot of money, but then also at the same time, generate a lot more business for you as well. So hopefully, it's a bit of a win-win for everybody involved.
Yeah, exactly. I know I work at Truemed, so I'm biased, but I really do think this can be, hopefully a game changer for you guys. And I think it's awesome. Everfit really wants to offer this to you as an option to kind of have your back and hopefully get some more clients in there too.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you everybody for attending. Like I said, if you opted in for the communication, keep an eye out for the recording and the templates and stuff being emailed. Otherwise, jump onto the Academy. You'll be able to see all of our Everfit Academy-based webinars and a bunch of other courses and content as well. So, other than that, enjoy the rest of your days. Stay warm if you're in the snow or the wet or the cold, which I think is about 90% of us.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys in the future.
Awesome. So thank you for all the questions also, guys. That was awesome. Appreciate it.